Hello and welcome to the Teacher Academy Screen Reader Savvy course. My name is Amy Snow. I'm a Certified Assistive Technology Instructional Specialist, or CADIS, at the Wisconsin Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. For those of you who do not know me, I am the specialist at the center in Janesville, Wisconsin, and I'm just a statewide AT consultant. I do evaluations, I do trainings, things like that. So this would be an example of a training. Perfect, right? So this is our first training video that you are expected to view prior to the week 1 class that we spend together. If you have not received the syllabus, please email or call me. My phone number is 608-758-6157, and my email address is amy.snow, S-N-O-W, just like it says on the screen right there, amy.snow at wcbvi.k12.wi.us. Okay, as it says in the syllabus, the material being covered today is Windows commands with or without a screen reader. Oops, go ahead and progress here the slide. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about screen readers, JAWS and NVDA. What's the difference? JAWS and NVDA are both put out by different companies. JAWS is put out by a company called Freedom Scientific, which is now part of what they used to call VFO and is now called Vispero Group. And the price, it ranges from between $895 and $1,095. That is actually old information. There are now what they call year licenses. I suppose I should probably change that, but it happened relatively recently. Development. JAWS is a paid product, so it's owned by a company, and its developers are also paid. JAWS, if it is purchased, again, it says VFO and Freedom Scientific here. JAWS has free support via their online phone and email channels that they can get a hold. You can get a hold of them. NVDA, or non-visual desktop access. It's free, though donations are accepted and appreciated, because a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into developing it, and sometimes that requires some money to purchase things, and that's kind of important. Development. NVDA is developed by volunteers. The code is open source. If you are very tech savvy, you can edit the code and develop it, though you would have to become a part of that community. And if you're interested in that, you're probably not taking this class. Anyway, some develop is supported through grants and donations. As we previously stated, some are federal grants through various governments. NVDA was actually not, it doesn't originate in the United States, it actually originates in Australia, interestingly enough. NVDA support, now this is where it gets kind of iffy. Most support is provided online or in forums. The training materials are available for purchase from various sources, including NVDA itself. Their website, by the way, is nvaccess.org. So the bottom line is, if you or your students or clients are proficient screen readers already, use of NVDA is actually a really good option. But if you or your student or client is relatively new to using a screen reader, you might benefit really from initially, at the very least, getting JAWS, becoming familiar with it, and then when you feel that you've kind of got the hang of it, then install NVDA and transition yourself, if you would like to do that. So there's lots of options there. So unless otherwise specified, All commands given on the following slides work for both JAWS and NVDA. They are Windows commands. The only major exception is when we will be talking, and that's next week and the following week, so weeks 2 and 3, when we will be talking about the specific screen readers, like their verbosity settings, speed, pitch, spoken feedback, things like that. But for the most part, any command you hear in this class is able to be applied across environments. Okay, here we go. Screen reader commands versus Windows commands. Well, what's the difference? Windows commands can be used with or without a screen reader, and they're built into the Windows operating system. They are used in all, or at least most, of Microsoft applications. Examples of that would include Control P for print, Windows M for minimizing all applications, or an Alt Tab to cycle between open applications. You do not need to have any sort of screen reader. People that are efficient keyboard typists, or that are, what do you call them, the administrative assistants, they don't call them secretaries anymore, administrative assistant or things like that. People who are very savvy and fast use commands more than they use the mouse, because once you learn them, it's faster. Now, what's a screen reader command? They are different than Windows. They are specific to each screen reader. Whoops, sorry. They are usually using the modifier key. For example, if you're using JAWS, the modifier key is usually insert unless you change it in the settings, which you can, or NVDA, which is also generally insert, or you have a much easier option to change to using either insert or tab, or caps lock, not tab. I know better than that. Anyway, so pretty much anything, the key is if you're interacting with the screen reader, chances are you are pressing one of those, either the insert or the caps lock or whatever assigned key it is. The commands typically vary from screen reader to screen reader, the commands that directly interact with the screen reader. The commands that interact with the environment, like with Microsoft specifically, or Windows specifically, those are not screen reader commands. Those can be applied across environments and whether you're using a screen reader or not. So if you're talking about screen reader commands, you're probably talking about speech settings, web navigation, using page elements, things like that, any kind of verbosity, stuff like that. And you'll get the idea the more we progress. Okay, so 7 cool Windows commands you wish you'd been using. Open the Notification Center, and you can read all these by yourself. But probably the most common ones are bringing focus to the desktop, which is Windows D. So when we talk about that, we're going to talk about holding down the Windows and tapping the letter D at the same time. So hold down the Windows, tap the letter D, and release the keys. It should take like not even half a second. Another popular one is to to log out. That's kind of nice. Windows L allows you to log out relatively quickly. Can't show you that one. Otherwise, we would be not having this conversation right now. You can also bring focus to various other areas, and I would encourage you to try these. You cannot break your computer. I promise. If I haven't done it yet, you probably aren't going to pull it off either. So no worries. Using your taskbar. Your taskbar, as you can see from the screenshot, is the lower ruler-sized portion of your screen. It has several parts to it. The first part is the Start menu, which is accessed with the Windows key. Then, if you're using Windows 10, you have Cortana in there. You do not have to have Cortana. There are ways to get her out of there, but really, it doesn't matter so much most of the time. Then you have your taskbar, your whole taskbar at large here, where your icons are sitting, and then you have what's left is your system tray. So this is the bottom ruler of your screen, and the taskbar, when we talk about that, we talk about actually this area where your icons are. It's the taskbar does not really include Cortana, and it does not really include the start menu, because when you go to the taskbar, those are separate elements. It looks like all one element. This whole thing looks like one big element, and these are all parts of it. And to some degree that's true, but when we talk about the taskbar, we're talking about this area specifically with your icons in it. Frequently used programs can be pinned to the taskbar and ordered in any way you would like. This automatically assigns them a shortcut. Okay, so you'll see this is a sort of a blown up version of that taskbar that we saw earlier. And this icon is zoom text, so if I wanted to launch it, it would be Windows 1. This is the first item in the list. This item is, I don't know if you can tell, it's Outlook email. If I wanted to launch that, guess what? Windows and the number 2. NVDA, if I wanted to launch that, it would be Windows and the number 3. And guess what? If it isn't listed, but I bet you can guess how you would launch the next one on the taskbar, the Firefox icon with a Windows. Right, 4. So perfect. There can be as many icons as your system tray can hold. On there are also, there's like an overflow sort of. It'll let you kind of overflow a little bit, but really it's kind of like favorites in a browser. You really don't have a point. If you have like a ton of things pinned to your taskbar, there's literally no point in like pinning 20 items there. Besides, I believe, come to think of it, the Windows key and only works with 1 through 9 and possibly 0, which is weird. But anyway, there are also items that might show up in your taskbar that are not pinned. Like when you open a Word document. The Word document will appear in your taskbar because it's something that's being worked on or in, and it would be placed visually to the right of the File Explorer icon. And that temporarily would take up the 8th spot on this row here, so you could easily get to it by doing a Windows 8. It's easy to pin items to the taskbar with a screen reader or without one, and really all you do is you open the start menu and you type the name of the program you want to pin, and right click on that or use the application key with the keyboard shortcut, which is either your application key, which is located most of the time on the right side of your keyboard between the Windows key and the Control key, or you can do a Shift F10. That will also open the context menu and is the same idea as the application key. You will be able to arrow down until you hear pin to taskbar or see pin to taskbar, and then press enter and it will pin it. If you want them in a specific order, unfortunately there's no way that I'm aware of with a screen reader to physically rearrange them. You're better off unpinning everything and then pinning it in the order that you want it. So there's that. Volume control. This is where we kind of become a little bit separated from using. This is where we have to use some different commands because JAWS and NVDA both access the system tray differently. And with JAWS, you're just going to do insert F11 to choose a system tray icon, press S for speakers, or you can alternatively kind of scroll through the options and pick one that sounds like it's the volume. Everybody's just going to look a little bit different. Usually it's something with a percentage after it. Press enter and then use tab to navigate to the left mouse button and then press enter. Use the arrows and or page up and down to adjust volume, and then just press enter and you're there. So it's pretty easy, not difficult. I would say try that if you have JAWS on your computer. Volume control for NVDA is a little different. You can also, by the way, use this same method with JAWS, but you cannot use the previous method in the last slide with NVDA because NVDA does not have that Shift F11, or I'm sorry, Insert F11 command embedded. So you've got volume control for NVDA. You want to access the system tray, you're going to use Windows B as in boy. Use the left and right arrows to locate your volume control, and it'll tell you. You'll probably hear NVDA announce a percentage, and when you hear that, press enter, and then use your arrow keys or page up and page down to adjust the volume, and then again press enter to set that. Okay, so that is pretty much what I wanted to cover today, just because this is the first class, wanted to make it relatively easy. So I hope you have watched this. That's kind of your assignment before class, and we'll get together and we'll go through the same topics again and be able to talk when we actually have the class. So if you have questions, you can email them to me in advance, or you can write them down and wait until we have our time together. Thanks a lot for enrolling in this class. Have a great day.